Good morning, guys and gals, and welcome to another edition. Thanks for joining me of Saturday mornings outdoors with Paul K. And I'm at the famous Cape Cod Canal, and it's a very unusual morning. They predicted rain, but it's pretty nice out. And we're fishing for striped bass as usual here. And we're gonna give it a swing and see what we can pull out. We got mac chunks on the bottom, and it's really calm. And a pretty morning, summer morning. So stay tuned. We'll see what we can dig out here at the Cape Cod Canal. I'll let you know. And big old tugboat pulling up, big old barge. Cement transporters or something like that. Work ship. Kind of neat. They leave almost no wake as they go by. Pretty cool. Both of them. I had said it 100 times. The small boats coming, they leave this 5-foot swells splashing up on the beach. These things come along and look at, there's just nothing behind them. Pretty spectacular. So here's the groggy fishing report for this week, fishing conditions for this week, and it is a west tide that I'm fishing on, and mac chunks on the bottom as usual, spinning reel and revolving, conventional, the usual stuff. We're working on the last quarter of the moon, and the temperature, I would say probably in the low 60s right now. They claimed it was going to be rainy all day, but it's really beautiful morning. There's no rain in sight. I'm sure it's coming if they say it is, and it's been raining for the past week or so. But barometric pressure is 29.98 and falling, so that's indicating that it is going to be rain. And very unusual conditions. If you look up at the moon, if it's clear enough, unfortunately up in Nova Scotia there's giant forest fires and incredibly brownish red moon. Really cool looking. If you get a chance at night the next couple of days, take a peek up there and you'll see a pretty beautiful thing. And it's unfortunate for Nova Scotia, those people up there, but I have a friendly subscriber up there, Backcountry Pipe. He's in Nova Scotia. I hope you're all right, buddy. I hope that big wildfire ain't anywhere near you, bro. But those are the weather conditions for today, and we're seeing what we can dredge up here. So this week I'd like to make sure that I get in. I put this in last week, but it just didn't come out in my editing. I don't know what happened to the segment of the film, but very important. Stripah regulations change all up and down the coast, I guess. Very unusual. They claim it's quote-unquote emergency ruling, but they voted it and it's already passed. So the old Stripah regulations used to be 28 to 36 inches. If you got it in that slot, you could keep it. If it was under 28 or over 36, you had to let it go. Now they've changed it, and it's very bizarre. It's 28 to 31. So all we have now is 3 inches to get a keeper. Yeah, I want the stocks to grow, but I also pay for a fishing license, and 3 inches is lenient. Of course, I'll swing with it. You know, we're all pretty much straight shooters, but for the sake of the species of the fish, I suppose. But what gets me is we get a 3-inch slot, but the commercials limits are not changed. So that says that money's involved there, you know. All up and down the coast, we're supposed to release all fishes, all the stripers with a 3, except for a 3-inch slot. and the commercials get to keep whatever they've been taking forever. So that's what I wanted to relay to you. If you like it, if you don't like it, and it's different, that's for sure. But that's the new regs, and we got to do it, and that's what they say. So just be aware of that when you're striper fishing. If you're letting them go all the time, you ain't got to worry. But if you're looking for meat, it's 3-inch slot there. So thought you might like to know. So the current has flipped. I worked through the slack tide, and there's guys working on the other side there. Maybe they're getting fish, maybe they ain't. The bike guys. But I just had a hit on this rod and rebaited and see what happens. So now we're fishing on the east tide. The current is running east. See how that goes. Fish on. Feels like a nice one. Oh yes. Check them out. Measure them up. So 26 and a half. Nice clean fish. Let them go. on the boards, boys. You know, I was dozing, and that adrenaline dump is just, it's unbelievable. I think that's what really, I mean, like, you know, all the outdoor sports, like the hunting, it's way more intense. When you take the shot and you actually connect, it's harder to, you know, bust a game animal, but that adrenaline dump, that will leave you shaking. And I don't care if you bagged 100 deer before or whatever big game you're hunting, but that's what does it. And it's the same with this fishing, man. I mean, the power of these fish, and it's just, the components of actually catching the fish, I don't know what's more fun. Seeing the actual double over, the power of these rods, they just go over. And it's just like, that is so freaking cool. And then the actual fight, when you feel that fish pumping against this current, and once again, I keep trying to let you guys know, if you're new to this, you got to get the heavy equipment, man, because now you can see the currents cranking, right? It's not a moon tide, you know, a full moon or a new moon tide, but it's last quarter, but it cranks. And then you get a fish like that, 26 inches, I would guess that thing probably weighs 12 pounds, maybe 13, something like that. And they just will bust your bass tackle, your freshwater bass tackle. They just tackle busting fish. So the components, I don't know what's more fun, seeing that rod double over, and then the actual fight, and then, well, I have to admit, there's another component too. If you have an actual cow, that you'll get religion. You stop praying to God, please let me get him in, let me get him in. So for me, I think that first initial rush of that double over, you know, I mean, freshwater largemouth bass fishing, you know, you really sock it to them when you set that hook, and, you know, and that's all cool and everything, and that's a rush in itself. But when you see that rod double over, I mean, that is like, it's just, you know, 2,000 volts go through you, like, oh yeah, you know. So this is what keeps us going, I think. It's so fun. It's just so fun. It just don't wear off. It's such a thrill. But onward and fishward, onward and upward. We'll let you know. Oh, there's the first sighting for me of the Viking. That's the Canal cruises. And you think you know a lot about the Canal, and you hear the moderator talking, and you really learn stuff, really eclectic stuff about the Canal. It's pretty interesting. If I ever find the time, I'll take that tour just for the heck of it. It looks, you know, just for the value of the info about the Canal. I mean, it's really, he just rambles on in there. It's all cool facts about this thing, you know. If you think you know a lot about it, you got to listen to this guy. But it's the first sighting for me this year of the Mississippi Queen. So the weather's changing a little bit. I'm feeling a little spick drops, and hopefully it doesn't turn on. I want to keep fishing, but we'll see what happens. But what I wanted to say was, okay, so we're on the east tide, my favorite tide, and when the tide is running east, I'm on the Cape Cod side now. When the tide is running east, the tide is coming in. It's going up. Tide is running west, the tide is going down. The water's flowing out. It's emptying. So east coming up, west coming down. And the other thing I want to bring up is a few guys were asking me, don't I ever use any other kind of baits? And I have super faith in mac chunks. And yeah, every now and then I'll try pogies and whatever's in, you know, especially if I got my cast net, I'll use whatever baits here. It's starting to rain now. I'll use whatever bait's fresh, but it's like your favorite lure in the right conditions. And I know mac chunks work, and in the Canal I would say probably there's always mackerel in here, and even if there ain't mackerel in here, the freaking fish know what mackerel is. You know, they're not gonna pass it up. It's stinky, it leaves a good trail behind it, whatever way the current's going, a good trail, good oily fish, and that's why I prefer mackerel. I try the other ones every now and then, sand eels and the herring. My favorite, I think, when we were allowed to use live herring, that was the bomb. I mean, if you had that herring, you will catch stripers. I mean, I think that worked probably the best live bait of any bait ever. you know, the blueback herring, and we used to catch them on sabiki rigs and just keep rolling. Catch them off the sabiki, put it on the hook, and throw it out there, and bang! If there's stripers there, you got them. And of course, live bait always works. But the blueback herring, the stripers just love. But that's why I use the Mac, you know, predominantly. I do use other baits every now and then, and I'll mention it this year as I come down here. You know, I'm going to try this or I'm going to try that. But I have so much faith in the Mac, and the proof's in the pudding. I catch fish on it, so I stick with it. It's like a universal all-around bait for the canal and beaches, anywhere, saltwater for that matter, you know. Some guys like squid, and some guys, you know, that's pretty popular. Shrimp, not so much up here, more down south. Not too many guys use shrimp up here. Big is sea worms, but the price of those things are stupid now. You know, you're better off digging your own. I mean, that's crazy expensive now. Fishing out of Quincy Harbor, being a Bostonian, we used to go to Hurley's boat livery, out of Hurley's boat livery, me and my dad, and we buy a flat, a dozen sea worms, and we go through and fill up a trash barrel full. But I can't imagine what a flat a dozen sea worms cost today. Probably over $100 easy, I bet, easily. But interesting. It's interesting. I'm gonna find out. But those are little things. The tide and why I use the Mac chunks. Just pass the info on. And so here's kind of an interesting thing. I just got a snag, the first snag of the year, and this gives you the power of the Alberto Knot. I don't know how well you can see that. That's where my mono, which is 30-pound test, was attached to my 40-pound Power Pro, using the Alberto Knot. And see how it broke? See that? It just broke on, and that's the point. That's why. And when you use a leader, make it less poundage than your main line, and that's just how it goes. One of the rare instances where I actually had a break off on a snag, I didn't want to walk around and try to loosen it up. I just yawed on it, and it busted. But see how it broke? It just broke right there at the union, but the Alberto Knot just hung right on. That's pretty interesting. Gives you the testament of that knot. The knot held before the 30-pound test mono leader broke, and that's pretty cool. And Mr. Alberto, his last name is Neo or something, but that's a heck of a knot, dude. It's quite an ingenious knot, but pretty interesting. Well, the sky's lowering now, and it's starting to come down a little heavier. I have my rain gear here, but I'm almost out of bait, so we'll call this a show. I really want to thank you guys for watching, and girls for watching, and mostly for subscribing. I'm almost at 400 subscribers now, which is like, I'm almost halfway to getting monetized here. When you get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, they start paying you money. That's not the reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to show the young kids that it's better out here than it is on the TV. But I want to thank each and every one of you sincerely for subscribing, and I appreciate it. Very important for this channel. For those that ain't subscribed, if you would please subscribe and comment and like. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and it don't cost nothing, and it's really helpful for the channel. But for almost 400 subscribers, thank you. You guys are awesome, and I have a lot of fun bringing this stuff to you. I really enjoy it. I love photography. Of course, I love fishing and hunting, and it's a lot of fun for me to bring this to you. So I'll continue to bring it to you. Hopefully the subscriptions will continue to rise. Thanks for coming along this week, and I really appreciate it. I think next week I should be on the Outer Cape and Truro Wellfleet area on those beautiful world-class beaches out there, seeing if I can defeat the seals and see what kind of fish I can dredge up. But thanks for showing up this week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much for watching, people, and we'll see you next time. Trail Boss out.